It waits. And, okay, all right. Apparently, like there we go. Oh man, it's been a weird ass week.
I mean, yeah,
You
but to be
know,
fair,
I'm
when
also
is it? When
yeah.
isn't it?
Well, like okay, so working backwards, I now wear glasses. Now the fucked up thing.
Welcome to the family.
I know. Now the fucked up thing is that they actually the one thing they fuck with is reading the screen.
Well, yeah, because I'm assuming you're nearsighted.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
nearsighted, I'm pretty good. Farsighted, not so much. So I should wear them. I really need to wear them when I drive. Um, but it is odd because I'm not used to wearing these things.
You get it's actually shocking how quickly and easily you get used to it. Don't eat my what? No, go away.
Okay, you
That's
must be
my
talking to the
wire.
cat because
I am.
I ain't eating nothing. You know. Ah,
Okay, stop. Either you leave the wires alone or I kick you out of the room. It's one of the two. Nope. Okay. Come on. Nope. 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 You cannot do this.
Kitty doesn't understand.
He's not. He is
Kitty
only
only
cat.
knows he is only cat. He only knows it is chewable.
And
What
if
is
you
a
chew it,
strange object that is both chewable yet I am unable to swallow?
therefore, he should be allowed to chew it.
Therefore, he must be allowed to chew it. Clearly, like does he attack bread? Sorry about
Okay.
last night. Why? What happened last night? Everything was fine. Or are you sorry that I was like getting really tired?
Oh no.
Like I felt bad about that because like I was hoping to go for like a little while longer, but I was like everything was great, and then just all of a sudden it was like, what's
uh,
going on? Who am I? What's my name? You know?
I. Oh, by the way, speaking of the kitty cats, I showed someone the you've seen the entirety of Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I showed someone that animated adaptation of For He Can Creep,
Oh, dude, isn't that great?
and mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I'm just like, see, this is why we have the cats. They fight the devil.
They fight evil. You know? What was it? The thing that one cat kept saying, the one who summoned ghosts.
I think that was actually supposed to be like all of her 9 lives because like she's a kitten compared to the others, so she still has all of hers.
Yeah, something like that. It was
Yeah,
something like that, but
but
it
but
definitely
but
felt
she
like it's the one with the magical powers. You
but
know,
she kept saying her own name. She kept saying, "I am the Night Hunter Moppet."
Yeah.
It's like face me and die. Then we choose death.
And of course, the whole thing ends with the cat knocking the ball of ink over. You know, like,
Of
Jing,
course it does.
whoa, I have bested you again. You
There
know,
is there is something absolutely beautiful about Satan turning to a cat and the conversation being you know, all of this and the kingdoms of the world I shall give thee if thee but bow down and worship me. No, it is you who should bow down to Joffrey.
I am cat. I don't fucking do what anyone says. It's not how this works. You know, oh, it was brilliant. It's so brilliant.
Is there anything more sinfully prideful and arrogant than Satan himself? Yes,
The cat.
a cat.
The cat, you know? Yeah, that was one of the I actually I saw a lot of videos people saying that fourth season of Love, Death, and Robots was like, oh, it's all gone downhill, and I'm like, actually, I thought this was like one of the most consistently good ones.
Look, I will allow people to have the opinion that the fourth season wasn't as great as the other three, but they are not allowed to talk shit about that episode specifically.
Dude, like it. I found myself going like, "You're just." I'm like, look, no, it's a bunch of you lamos out there that is mad because there was nudity in this one. There was quite a lot of nudity because they were like, "What do we?" Nudity's not something we've done in this show before, and it's supposed to be based on heavy metal. I feel like we have been remiss in not having production value.
Really, it's if we're trying to evoke heavy metal vibes, it's actually quite on brand to have
It's
some,
super on brand to have tits and ass.
you know. But again, the only people who hate that episode specifically or dislike it, I'm like, you're all dog people, aren't you?
I don't even know. I don't even know.
How could you not love this? It's a cat. It's the cat owned by Christopher Smart, the mad poet who was locked in St. Luke's sanitarium for 4 years. He's fighting the devil. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I got my glasses. But I also went to the No Kings protest, which was left me strangely optimistic.
It should, because here's the wonderful thing. Because I also went to my local No Kings protest. I helped hand out water because people need to drink. It's hot out here.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you saw any of the videos comparing the millions upon millions of people across the country who participated in this, and then his shitty little parade with the one squeaky tank.
Squeaky tank. I'm like sitting there going like, wow, that's pretty wretched. That's pretty bad. Well, like, and I also found myself going like, well,
behold less than 200 people watching a white woman destroy an R&B song on a stage.
Is pretty bad. Like, well, it's one of those. There was this documentary this documentary style film that was like, what if the South had never had successfully seceded, and become its own nation? And the one thing that I was like, yes, absolutely, that would have happened, is they were like, yeah, Hollywood never happens. The American film industry never happens. And the arts in America are considered a joke. Because they're just bad. Because they're all about celebrating the military, the Confederacy, and Jesus. And, like, nobody cares. Like, not even the people in the Confederate States of America care. Now, one of the problems I had with the conceit of the documentary, it's like, so they have to have a way for the South to successfully secede, right? So they have like a lot of fictional things that happen. Like, okay, France comes to their aid and shit. And if you know anything about, it's one of those things where, like, the more you actually know about the history of the Civil War, the more you're like, no, there's no way the Confederacy was going to win. There's absolutely there was zero chance they would win.
It's also one of those things of like, even if they did, which that in and of itself is shot in the fucking dark, but even if they did, it would have imploded within a decade.
Yeah, within a decade. Like, it could not have stood up on its own, because the the way that it wanted to go about doing its trade benefited nobody but the slave owning class. And that's not enough to run an economy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's what I think is very scary about today's America, which is our billionaire class. The billionaire class actually is, billionaires are not good for an economy. They're actually really bad for it.
It's actually quite fascinating. There's this brilliant podcast, Behind the Bastards, which they take famous bastards throughout history and tell you about them. And one of my favorite bastards that they did an episode on was Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Thomas
yes.
Jefferson wasn't a bastard. Oh, yes, he
Yeah, he
was.
was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he fucking was. He was a piece of shit. But
He's
he was a genius. He can be a piece of shit too.
Hey,
Those things are not mutually exclusive.
I still enjoy fucking Roman Polanski films, but the guy's a piece of shit.
I mean, yeah, right. Call a spade. Where a thing is what it is, and in the
just remember, you could be black and somehow directly related to Thomas Jefferson,
and that's disturbing. But yeah, so they did like 2 podcast episodes on Jefferson, and it was interesting. In the first one, they actually broke down the antebellum South economy and how far back that actually goes, and they pretty much broke it down to the point of like, hey, so we're going to show you how the reason they fought for this is because it's literally the only way they were making money, because they were all so bad.
Yeah,
they were all so bad at making any actual money in a way that was feasible. And
yeah, because like all the wealth was caught up in slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike money, slaves do this thing that people tend to do, which is called dying. They tend to die. So if you've got all your capital tied up in them, in their ownership, you don't have a lot of cash to flow to fucking move around, because how are you going to transfer that value?
Right, exactly. And it's so weird when you look at it and you realize that, somehow plantations where the crops grown were significantly less valuable than the ownership of the people working them. That is
Plus all those plantations were cash crops.
Yeah, so they fucked up how do you fuck up growing tobacco in the South? They fucked up growing tobacco.
Yeah, they did.
This is how bad the southern United States economic history is a long history of rich white men fucking things up for literally everybody else.
Oh yeah. Basically, it's kind of interesting if you compare like the history of the antebellum South with the history of the rise of California. Because it's one of those, like, what did the South do? They planted cash crops. What did California do? They planted food crops. Turns out being able to eat's a big deal. You know,
funny,
real big deal. Hold on. You don't get to get off scot-free. You must make an appearance, kitty. Kitty. That's right. Why do we live with animals?
It was very funny. We had a large thunderstorm today.
Oh yeah.
And I had completed my yard work, so I was laying in bed, like got a blankie on and everything because I'm like, ooh, it's chilly. Uh, well, with the air conditioning on anyway. And thunderstorm happens, and his response was to jump up onto the bed, secure himself on top of the blanket between my feet, but not to nestle, to stand at attention and look around. And then when he was sure that I wasn't going anywhere, he then got up onto his cat tree and then stood at attention and looked all around and would not give up the attention and the alertness until the thunder had passed. Essentially, he decided to say, "Back, sky demons! This is my place!"
Yes, yes, he has to be where you are and look over and keep watch over the commune. That is his position. That is his skill set. He stands there at attention.
He's the cutest little guardsman,
Yes.
and I love him. I've had people be like, "Are you worried that your cat's possessive of you?" And I'm like, "No, it's nice to be appreciated. I'm actually very okay with this."
Would Gomez and Apollo be friends if they met? I don't know. I think that in the beginning they would not be.
He's had issues.
I know Gomez.
Yeah, he's had issues before. I think it's because like the place that he was being kept at before I got him, it was full of older cats who bullied him a lot.
Ooh.
So I think he has this kind of like adversarial relationship with other cats being in his space. My brother, this past Christmas, my brother brought his cat over to see if they would be okay. Now, my brother's cat, Baguette, I love him. He's a lean Bombay black cat. He's very lean, and he looks like a Toulouse-Lautrec painting of a cat. It's very funny. Um, but uh, but he kept him in this like bag thing that also like it's cool. It's like a little cat travel bag, but there's like a collapsible tunnel that can come out of it and loop around into it. So if he can't leave the bag, he at least has like space to like play around in and shit.
Yeah.
So we brought him over, kept him in the bag. Apollo saw him, went over to him. You know how like when they hiss when they're afraid and like the ears go back and shit and like the tail goes down? He did not do that. Ears perked and up, tail straight up, no fear whatsoever, goes up to this bag. Baguette is very curious and wants to be friendly, and Apollo literally just slaps the shit out of him through the bag, hisses, and runs away.
The previous cat I had, Migo, when he would see a new cat, what he would do was he would immediately tense up, and I swear to God, his face would peel off. Like, damn. And he would make this unholy noise. Yeah. Like, you're like, you would not believe that that noise came out of a cat. You know, to the point where some people are like, "Oh my God, there's like what animal got in the house?" And I'm like, "No, that's the cat. He saw another cat, and he didn't like it." You know, which was really weird because he had grown up around other cats, but after the last cat he grew up around died, he was never friendly to another cat again.
He's like, "Nope, that room in my heart has gone."
Yeah. He just lost, and I had not seen it before, because normally he was just like, "Oh yeah, other cat, everything's fine." You know, he would take Pounce's shit. I mean, not literally, but like he would take a lot of bull crap from him and just be like, "Burr." But the minute he was gone, like the day he was gone, we had a roommate move in the day Pounce died. and he came in with 2 cats. And we were like, this should be okay. Like,
and then it wasn't.
and then it wasn't. Yeah, then it wasn't. Like, then it became a territory war between Migo and the other 2, to the point where the guy had to keep his cats in his room. And I felt bad about that. But we could not contain Migo. You know, he would just launch himself like a fucking tiger at these poor cats who were just as freaked out because they had just been moved from their home.
And they'll have to be in a small space.
Yeah. Oh, but the saddest thing, he would defend the food bowl. Not because he was eating it. But
being a little shit.
He didn't. No, he didn't. That was Pounce's food that he was defending.
Oh.
He wouldn't let them get near it.
Oh.
You know? Like, he wouldn't let them get near his food either, but he wouldn't eat Pounce's food. He would just defend it. That bowl he would defend. And it was like, oh, poor kitty. He's heartbroken. You know, he was a great cat. He was a great cat, though. If you're a human, he was amazing. You know, he was one of those cats that's just like, yeah, I sleep on you now. He was also one of those cats that knew how to open doors, so it was really freaky.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. He figured out how to open doors, and that always freaked people out. He would also come when I called him.
Apollo comes when he. You see, I just said his name and his ear twitched a little bit. He knows what his name is. It's interesting though, because like he hasn't figured out how to open doors, but I think that's also because like all of my doorknobs are like small and round. I don't have any of like the latch doorknobs.
Yeah, we didn't either, but our doorknobs were kind of big, and they were a little loose. So he was like, okay, so if I slide on it, it spins, and that will open the door. And when people would stay over, because we'd have these like rager parties, or people would be like, all right, so if that door opens, there's a good chance it's just going to be the cat. They're like, well, we should just shut the door then. And I'm like, yeah, good luck with that.
He will open it.
He will open it like like fucking 4 a.m. Ah! And I'm like, oh, okay, cat, just open the door. You know, because everyone's coming down off of being high, and then all of a sudden the door opens.
And there's just a cat just
standing there like.
It's really interesting though, because Apollo's really social. He's very humans. He's very friendly. He wants to investigate everybody. But there's only one person who's ever been in my house so far that he has legitimately like shrunk and backed away from, and did not respond well to that person.
Oh no.
And this is it's a significant other of a friend of mine, and I've turned to that friend since and been like, hey, don't bring them back here. What? I think that, but this is my boyfriend. I know, and I respect that. Paul doesn't like him.
I respect that, but the cat doesn't.
Something's wrong. I have said this to my friends.
And now you're waiting for the word to come down of what happened.
Yeah. No, exactly. I'm just like, no. Cat saw something in you that's wrong. I trust the cat.
Little cute little cat girl's like, what's scary to you? Cat opening your door or dog opening your door? Dog, because it means my face is about to get licked.
I saw a video today of a snake opening a door.
Impressive.
Mm-hmm. It was someone's pet boa constrictor, and it was one of those creamsicle colored ones.
Oh, was it it was
not a python.
It was not a ball python. It was like a full-on constrictor. Okay.
Yeah, this thing was like
big.
The thing was over 6 foot. And the door in question was one of those like one of those like actual like handle doors.
Mm.
And it was just so funny. You see the other side of this door that the person is filming. You see like the handle would go down, and then because what is happening is the snake is just like doing that. You know that thing where it goes up.
Yeah.
It did that, but then just and is like pushing its head down onto the handle to open the door. And so this door swings open, and then the snake just go very loudly, just goes and starts to slither in. And like the owner on the video is just like, "Good job, bud.
You did it. Yeah.
You did it. You opened the door."
Oh my God. But yeah, like one of the things that going back to the No Kings rally, like the thing that it made me feel like, yeah, maybe we'll come out of this. Which is more fucking optimism than I've had in a long time. Like, not even Iran and Israel fucking got me to come down off of that high.
Yes, because here's the thing that we're all finding out very interestingly is that the thought leaders of American fascism are all very stupid.
Dude.
They're all extreme. Like
I knew that. That's one of those things that I knew, but it's still shocking to see it happen.
well, yeah, look, you knew it because fascism is stupid. You have to be stupid and hateful to believe in fascism. So that was always a given. But I don't know how else to put it. In individual Nazis and individual black shirts, these were stupid individuals. They were brutish and stupid individuals, but they had the hierarchy of a strict military structure and were therefore able to conquer what they did through a use of overwhelming force.
Yeah, yeah.
With a ruthless military efficiency. These people are so undisciplined in every possible imaginable way that even the subgroups over here that are supposed to be paramilitary style or groups and organizations are fucking up horrendously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, they have no discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have no discipline. They're just
Well,
thugs.
Well, yeah, because if they were more than just thugs, they would have, I don't know, actually gotten into the military.
Yeah, they're all washouts.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the things I find very interesting is that they're all washouts. And while I do believe that they will continue to do tremendous damage, it's crazy to watch them try to operate. Because you're sitting there going like, can we just beat them to death?
You could.
Like normally that wouldn't work, but are we in a position to just be like, nah, we're done. We're done.
Look, I mean,
beat. It's crazy.
Again, I don't know how much of like the individual pieces of footages you've seen, but did you see that one group of Proud Boys getting defeated by a brass section?
No, I did not.
Oh my God. It was amazing. There was one of these things and there were Proud Boys there, behind, of course, standing behind a policeman because, they're really cowards.
Yeah.
Again, just so just saying they're like starting like to go with their rhetoric against like the protesters, and then out of nowhere, like riders on the horizon, came came a tuba, a trombone, and a trumpet. And they came up playing everyone's current favorite Italian anti-fascist song, "Oh Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao,
Oh,
Ciao, Ciao,"
jeez.
and literally just every time any of the Proud Boys would try to speak, at peak volume.
One of the things I did find out, you know how MAGA hats are always showing up at shit.
And how they're all made they're all like made either in like mainland China, Taiwan, or Thailand. Yeah,
No,
I've
no, no,
noticed.
no, 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 no. Not their gear, the people themselves.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Trying to get a rise out of folks. I realize why very little of the footage that you see of that comes from San Francisco. You would think there'd be a lot of it, but SF just doesn't engage. They just by and large don't engage. Like if you find the one person who's willing to talk to them, like that's it.
Mm.
And I had been ready because I was like, well, what are you going to do if MAGA starts coming near you? And I'm like, well, if they're close enough, like it's very obvious. There they are, microphone. They're about to ask their question. Rise up, ye victims of oppression, for the tyrant knows your might.
It's funny. I saw something that happened up, like a few streets away from you. That bar that's kind of across the street from Love of Ganesh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
With like the Irish flag and shit. I saw a video of some drunk asshole spilling out of that bar and like running into like girls with protest signs, like literally like running into them.
Yeah.
And he saw what it said. That's one of them had the sign that said immigrants pay taxes, billionaires don't. And he started going on this whole anti-illegal immigrant shit, and then but it was so funny, dude, because he was so drunk. But it was so funny, middle of the day, by the way, just like clearly not before 2 p.m. It was so funny because like they were like, "Oh my god, are you fucking stupid?" And he was like, What'd you say to me? Are you fucking stupid?" What does it say? Illegal immigrants on her sign? Well, yeah, of course it did. Let me read it again. Well, it doesn't, but it's implied. No, it's not. You're stupid. And then he kind of just like ran away, cursing.
Shuffled off. Yeah. There's just not enough of them to sustain any real effort or energy on their part in the area.
Just got called out for being illiterate by 2 college girls.
Dude.
So funny.
Hang your head in shame. But yeah, like a couple of them came through the crowd, but like nobody cared because at the end of the day, it's just one of those, like, everyone's got their number at this point. It's like, yeah, you're a grifter looking to cause shit and maybe get clicks on YouTube. Nobody cares, dude. Everybody has a YouTube channel, you stupid piece of shit. Like, I've got a YouTube channel. Good Lord.
I've got 2. Why? Because they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, yeah. It turns out anyone can get one. And
when you remember that, it becomes a lot less special.
Well, I'm also
in that regard.
I'm also like weirded out. I'm still weirded out by Podcast Bro. Podcast Bro still fucking weirds me out because it's like watching a guy fail to pick up anyone at a bar night after night. And I'm like, what keeps you going?
I don't know.
Like, what keeps you going? Is it are you just dumb? I mean, I know dumb is in the mix, your Podcast Bro. But how do you keep going? Like, no one's listening. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about you. But
well, and it's interesting, right? Because like, okay, like we all listen to podcasts, but most of the podcasts we listen to are like themed and having fun with it.
yes.
Like for instance, I listen to quite a few uh paranormal encounter podcasts
Oh,
and
I
like,
can't listen to those. I can't listen to
oh
those.
no, I listen to the ones where like most of them don't believe in ghosts, but they're just doing it.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's fun. um or like listening, or like I'll listen to podcasts that are like either like entirely like made for an LGBT audience, and then it's just like
Yeah.
it's just like fucking like queens dishing over a microphone, like shit like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
It's
the ones I primarily listen to are like game designers and um the one and Haunted Hill, which is like the one horror
yes,
podcast that I'm like, oh, thank God. Where
it's
it's
good.
it's it's really good because it's literally a guy reading short horror stories, but not from Reddit. Like stories written by like real authors. I don't know how else to say it. Stories that are a cut above.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I love this.
Because
It's
one of
but
the because one of the biggest problems I have with like all those podcasts that just read Reddit stories is I'm like, it, I got no problem with amateur hour, but you're trying to make amateur main event.
reading podcast, okay.
Just trying to make fetch happen.
It's
It's
not going to
going to
happen.
happen.
You see, reading Reddit stories is only entertaining content when the people reading and engaging with each other around the story are legitimately funny and entertaining.
Yeah.
If that does not exist, then this is bad.
Well,
It's
yeah,
just
it's not there aren't enough of them to sustain one podcast, let alone all the podcasts that are doing it.
no, exactly. So you're going to come across like the same story at least several times, and the only thing that can possibly add to it is, okay, who is reading it and what bullshit is going to occur as they read it.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing that can possibly sustain that kind of thing.
Well, it's and and
Uh,
and the thing is I appreciate how hard writing is. Um,
mhm.
the the hard one of the hardest aspects of the damn thing is keeping yourself entertained as the writer, to keep yourself entertained enough to finish the damn thing, because it's very easy to fall into the just get it done trap, which you wouldn't think was a trap, but it is.
Well, yeah, because then you're not actually like engaged with the work.
Right, right. It's sort of like, well, I mean, you can just get it done, but
It's not gonna be good.
it's not going to be great. Like it's not going to be that good. You gotta, you gotta be able to get it done while still having some sense of like, no, I still really, really love this. You know,
Oh no, you know what's wild is, speaking of writing, I'm doing something that I've toyed with doing for a very long time.
yeah.
I'm writing a screenplay.
Oh,
Yes.
there you go.
I'm not entirely sure what it's about yet.
Ah,
And I say that because uh as a tribute to a man who has inspired great things in my life, I am I have adopted David Lynch's methodology of writing a script. So I don't
taking a
quite
wooden stick on a string and pointing it at something until you get an idea.
God, I wish that's what I kind of wish that's what David Lynch did. Have
No,
you
it
ever actually
is.
no, well, Well, no, I'm talking about like that like weird like mental exercise that he did to like write shit.
Oh, which what? I'm not familiar.
So David Lynch. So the way he said the way I saw him say that he has written all of his scripts is that he's and if you're gonna quote the man, you have to do the voice because it's not fair if you don't. Um, he said in this interview, he was just like, "So what I do is I start with a stack of 3x5 index cards. I suppose if you really wanted to, they could be 3x7. And what I do is I find a nice place and I sit down and I start with, because the really important thing is you have to start with that desire, that want to find a good story and write it. And you have to use it in bait. It's almost like fishing. You sit down, you close your eyes, and you use that desire as bait and you cast your line out into the deep water of the subconscious. And the part that's really tricky is much like in real fishing, you have to wait and you have to be patient. It, but it will happen because just like fish are drawn to bait, ideas are drawn to the desire to make them real. And eventually you'll hook one and you reel it in and you grab that fish. And maybe it's a purple fish with red fins and sparkling eyes. And you say to yourself, I love this fish. I love this little fragment of an idea. I'm going to keep it. So you write that idea down on an index card, put it over here, cast your line out again. But now the trick is, you see, because you've got the initial thought. So all the other ideas that will be drawn to you will be related to this idea, even if you can't recognize it yet. Don't worry about story structure. Don't worry about where the ideas will go. Just get them and keep on writing them. For me, 70 index cards is a feature length film. And once you've got all the ideas, then you can decide which one happens first, where, and then you start to build. You build bridges with words to connect the ideas, and that's how I make movies with my daydreams.
It's not a bad idea. I'm currently like writing the video for Babylon. I'm having some trouble. Like, I've got something that works, but you can tell by my expression I'm not thrilled about it.
It's not quite there.
It ain't there. It doesn't make my dick hard, So I'm trying to get it to make my dick hard. And one of the ideas that I had was to try to House of a Thousand Corpses it. You know that great intro to House of a Thousand Corpses? Like, to try to do something like that. Now, the difficulty is that it does have to function because it's not just a story. It has to tell you certain things. They must be present because if I don't do that, I'm not telling you about the game, right? I could just tell you a short story, but that doesn't necessarily tell you about the game. And that's where I'm starting to run into trouble. Where you have to like commingle. You have a function already determined. So you got to make the form, it and this form merge together. And hopefully it will create a weird mutant fuck baby that no one will forget. But I don't see it as being anything other than like a freaky conjoined fuck baby. It's going to be weird no matter what.
and then there's the added what the fuckery of the fact that how to put it, you gotta make it so that people feel like they're getting a lot when you're telling them nothing.
Yeah. Well, you have to be like trying to spark their imagination,
Mm.
which is difficult. Also, I have to figure it out where I'm only doing where one person is doing the majority of the talking.
Mm.
Because if I don't do that, then that's kind of beyond my capability. I might be able to get one or two extra voices, but that'd be it.
Mm.
You know, and I don't like working with possibilities. I like working with things I know I'm going to have. You know, and that's a big problem. You know, because it's like, how do I fucking do this with when it's only one guy talking? Like that seems to be the majority of the exercise. And that shit is hard. That shit is very hard for me. I know some people who could just do it. I'm not one of them. It takes me a while.
Hmm.
You know, I fish slowly. Um,
That's
I
okay.
wish I also because I also realize my okay. So starting next Friday and for a little while, I'm going to be rather than our regularly scheduled stream. I'm going to be in a live play of a game called Urban Shadows.
Hmm.
Now, Urban Shadows is really obviously a game that it's intended for people who put a lot of thought into the background of their characters. I
Mhm.
put no thought into the background of my characters outside of what I think is interesting because I found that me personally, that's all I need. That's all I need. I just need an idea where they came from, who they are presently, and then it just comes to me. It just comes to me. I don't need to do anything else. You know,
Yeah, I find that some of the most interesting things about a character, especially backstory wise, like will just kind of manifest through gameplay.
yeah. Like one aspect that something that you could do in a role playing game that I've never figured out how to like make a mechanic around this. Because but it's just something I do as the game master all the time, which is flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Write me two characters. Write me a flashback. All you have to do is tell me how this one thing happens. It must happen because that's already been determined by the plot. But how it happens is up to you. Um, I was in one of the Countess's games. She did this one thing that was actually kind of brilliant. Um, is we start out getting arrested. And she's like, all right, so rather than role play you guys in jail, we're going to do a flashback. It's you and you. It's how you met. And the only thing that you has to be determined is that you thought that this was done. You didn't think that this was going to come back to haunt you at all. Other than that, everything's fair game.
All right.
And that was one of the best adventures. That adventure, I remember that adventure so clearly.
Well, again, it's how to put it. It's like being an improv actor at that point. Like you give an improv actor all of that, they'll go, Okay, now give me a setting.
Yeah.
And then they'll just run with it.
Yeah. It was really cool because when she would flash back to the present, it would be in direct response to something that we had done. So it's sort of like, so this happens, blam. So that cop that you remember from that moment comes in. He's a little contrite because he likes you, because that was determined in the flashback. But all of a sudden he starts bleeding from the eyes and coughing up blood, and he just falls dead right in front of you, and we're just like, what just happened? It's like, what just happened? It's like, okay, now flashback again, and we'll find out what happened. Like, why did this happen? Now she knew. She had a plot. She had a plot that all had to do with the Will-O-Wisp. And yeah. It was nasty. It was nasty. It was one of those like, oh, yeah, not everything that's supernatural is going to be friendly. Sometimes you really do just have to kill it. No, it was pretty sweet. But how do you... But there's like no mechanic you can build around that I've been able to find. You just have to be a good enough game master to be like, hey, this is a thing you can do. You can fuck with time, you can fuck with plot, you can fuck with structure. You can do basically anything. But in order to make it satisfying, here are the beats. Like, here are the things that must happen. Otherwise, people are going to get upset. One of my favorite write-ups was of the horror story. They were like, a horror story has 5 bits. They usually happen in this order, but not always. But they will all happen. 1, the transgression. The thing that should not happen happens. Someone does the thing that they shouldn't. And it's supposed to be clear that you shouldn't. Even if you don't have someone saying, don't go down that road. You definitely want the like, yeah, we shouldn't be here. Or yeah, that shouldn't have happened. And
teenagers have their post-prom party in the abandoned house.
In the abandoned house. Or even worse, the transgression isn't you. It was done before you got there.
Your boyfriend and his friends go out to the Korean countryside and fuck with a temple that they're not supposed to fuck with. He doesn't tell you about it. You're now cursed because you share a roof with this idiot.
Yeah. Those are all another great transgression from a classic fucking horror movie. Don't touch the egg. Don't get too close to the egg. Don't do that. Like that's alien. Yeah, it's alien. Like, don't get too close to the egg.
Hey, you see that thing over there that you know what the fuck it is and it looks slimy? Don't touch that.
Don't touch it. Because even though no one ever says, actually, I think someone does say don't do that. But even if they didn't, everything about that scene says get the fuck out. Don't touch anything. But a guy does. The next part is the omen stage. The next stage is the omen stage.
The portents of doom.
The portents of doom. Yeah. You always want to have it to do with the thing, the bad thing that is going on. But, forms of omen are the psychic gets a message, or, slime drips from the walls.
The crazy old man who lives in town rides on a bike and tells you don't go there.
Yeah. Oh, no. That's part of the transgression. It's more like
I no, I got one. You're gonna die in there.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
all gonna
Gonna
die.
die. Yeah, 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 yeah. Or in one of the greatest omens is in Poltergeist. Shit flies all over the place for no goddamn reason. That's an omen.
The chairs stack themselves on the kitchen table.
Yeah, yeah, that's an omen.
And
In
and then the whitest mom in history conducts a science experiment with fucking diagrams on the floor and shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. In Alien, it's the whole fucking dude has the face hugger on his it's everything between him having the face hugger to the thing coming out of his chest. All that's the omen.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to the manifestation, which is you see the horror in all of its detail. You now know what it is.
The thing we're going to be running from shows itself, so we know to run from it.
Yes. Like, you see the full-grown alien. You see Jason for the first time.
The ghosts do their weird light bullshit.
Yeah, the ghost not only does its weird light bullshit, it attacks somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it,
The little girl gets sucked through
the little girl gets sucked through the motherfucker. Actually, that's technically an omen. She gets sucked through the television. The manifestation is when you got that like weird spider thing crawling through the house. Like that's the manifest. That and all the other related spirits. Those are the manifestation.
When we have to throw tennis balls in and shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you have the banishment.
This house is clear.
This house is clean. We have killed the we've blown up the Nostromo and kicked the alien queen out of the airlock. Like that shit.
That thing looks so stupid floating in space.
Oh, I know. But it was badass at the time.
Oh no!
Everything else that works about that movie covers up all the fucking seams of that shot.
I keep people say I'm crazy. I'm like, no. There's nothing scary about a xenomorph in broad daylight with nothing to cling to or cover.
Yeah. Oh, Number Name is what the horror comes to you instead of you finding it. It can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be hunting you as a result of the transgression.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what Jason does. You don't go looking for Jason. He hunts you down. Why? Well, you smoked pot and had premarital sex in the woods.
Killing these teenagers.
Yeah. With Freddy, the transgression is being born of the parents of Elm Street.
And falling asleep.
Yeah. But the last one is in many ways the most important, which is slumber. The evil is defeated for now. And that for now is really important.
So we've got the transgression, the
omen,
manifestation,
banishment, and slumber. Spells tombs. Those are the beats of the horror story. There are also beats of the heist, which are very different. The first beat of the heist is there is the MacGuffin.
Mm-hmm.
There is a MacGuffin. There is thing or idea of thing that you are after. Sometimes it's very obvious, sometimes it's not. But there's always thing you're after, otherwise there's no heist. The heist movie is also identical to the escape movie. It's just that in that one, the MacGuffin is escaping. You have the initial heist. The
plan that gets mapped out, the thing that we're familiar with that they're all going to start doing.
Yeah, they're all going to start doing it. All the characters are introduced. All the main characters are introduced. The plan,
I'm Danny Ocean, and this is my whiteboard.
exactly. The plan works, except there's always an
Oh no,
except.
he's stuck in the vent.
Yeah. He got stuck in the vent. We got caught because of this. Blah blah blah. This one cop has it out for you. Whatever.
There's always someone with a headset that goes, change of plans.
Yeah. You then have the regrouping, the creation of a new plan, and the second plan can succeed. The first plan will always fail somehow. It's the second or third plan that goes off.
And in every heist movie since Ocean's 11, it happened before Ocean's 11, but now it's in every heist movie since Ocean's 11 without fail. It turns out that the failure that leads to the second plan was in fact part of the first plan that no one knew about except for 5 people.
Right. Let's see, the beats of the revenge story. Well, the first is you have the betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
The first is that you have the betrayal, and the betrayal needs to be pretty complete. You know, the next thing that happens is usually the guy getting revenge has to spend an amount of time paying for the crime they didn't commit, even if there's technically no crime, that even if they don't go to jail, they somehow pay for this crime that they didn't commit, emotionally or physically. Next, they get out of this metaphorical or literal prison. And then it is on to revenge. And the revenge must be somehow ironic. Otherwise, it doesn't work. You know, it has to be the revenge has to be ironic. Otherwise, who gives a shit? The next major thing that happens after you do that a few times is that it looks like that the revenge is not going to be completed. Like he's about to fail. Like something gets thrown into the mix that either causes him to reprioritize or fail. And then the next bit is they succeed. Yeah, the Ocean's 11 films are really good by really good, like, archetypally structured heist movies.
Oh, yes.
You know, so if you want to study the heist, those are good films to do it with. I actually think that, like, I think that the Now You See Me movies have their charm, but I wouldn't model anything after them because I've got to be honest. I find the magic tricks that they do really fucking... I'm like, look, without Hollywood special effects, this simply wouldn't work.
Yeah, no, I literally can't get past the first one. I literally cannot get past the first one. The first one is it. I cannot do any of the other ones because
it's so convenient. You find yourself going, it would be better explained with just magic.
As someone who used to do performative magic, and as someone who loves watching magicians perform, I have a really big problem every time I know that the trick is not possible. I hate it so much that, I know everyone fucking loves it. But that fucking scene from, I think it's the second one, that fucking scene with the playing card that gets passed around in, like, the high security, like, fucking vault or whatever wherever the fuck they are, like in an
No, that's like the first one, isn't it?
no,
Oh,
it's
it's
the
the
second
second
one.
one. Okay.
Second one, and like they keep passing it around to each other in this white fucking room, and no one sees this. Two, somehow aim that literally can't happen in a room that has air.
I know.
It's it's
I
one of those things
know.
like it's like I'll believe that Woody Harrelson could catch that playing card from 100 yards away, not looking at it, just by going like this to his back real quick, and it aims perfectly. I'll believe that if he's in the vacuum of space, maybe.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, there was a not so great movie that had a conceit about cards. Um but the conceit was really interesting because they were fighting psychics. So they literally had to put together a plan where none of them knew what the plan was. Otherwise, they would get caught. Really cool idea. The
That
movie's
actually makes
only,
sense. I
yeah,
like that.
the movie's okay, but that was a really great conceit.
What's it called?
I forget.
That's fair.
Yeah. But
Oh,
if you want a movie like Now You See Me that is actually 100% believable, FX and FX2.
yes.
Those ones are believable.
Oh, I gotta tell you. Speaking of films, I showed someone Blue Velvet for the first time this week. I feel like I've done a good thing.
That is a good thing.
I
Oh, the
I
movie.
saw.
Oh, Stacy knows it. It's called Push. That's right. It is called
Oh,
Push. I'm like,
oh, because put yes, yes. Uh oh, but more importantly, in besides showing someone Blue Velvet for the first time, I showed someone Blue Velvet for the first time, and then as soon as the credits roll, pause. Okay, discuss. What did we just watch? Because
the false patina of American suburbia is a lie, which covers up a dark, dark underbelly.
yes, I do, however, think the more important part of that is that, how to put it, I believe that to be secondary to the what I interpret as like the thing of the film. I interpret the thing of the film to be a story of a young man comes home, sees and realizes the darkness both in the world and in himself, and then has to make the decision, okay, do we let the darkness overtake us? Do we fight the darkness like a hero? Or do we do the extra hard thing, which is recognize the darkness in ourselves, but be okay with it enough to use it?
I always like saw it as I sometimes saw it as the story of Ishtar descends into the underworld from the perspective of Ea.
That would also work. That would also work. Because to me, okay, first of all, most alluring character in the entire film is Ben. Ben is the most alluring of all the characters. You want to know everything about that guy.
The candy colored clown.
Candy colored clown, they call the
Uh,
Sandman.
you were
Oh my
one
god.
smooth
But
fuck. Yeah, no, one suave fuck.
oh fuck. It's like, come on, a beer for Ben. You want a beer, Ben? Fine, Frank. Fine. But yeah, to me, Ben is the red man.
Ah, okay.
Because I don't know if you've ever noticed, what place he's in. Because that's not a house.
I, huh.
I want you to think about the scene
It
real
is
quick,
kind
right?
of reminiscent of the Black Lodge.
Do you know why it's reminiscent of the Black Lodge? Because Jack, where they come in is a foyer. The main big room that everyone is in is clearly a waiting room. This is clearly a repurposed doctor's office. So they're in a waiting room.
Oh. Right.
Yeah. So to me, that is the liminal space.
Right.
He is the red man. Frank Booth is what happens when you face the red man or the red one, and you face it with imperfect courage, and the darkness overtakes you, and you let it.
Yeah.
That's why he keeps, and that's why Frank keeps screaming, "Don't you fucking look at me!"
Look at me. Yeah. Don't you
Because
fucking look at me.
because what is that when the cold light of the conscience shines
That's true. Oh, and it's
on it? It
it's true.
shrieks
And
back.
fucking Ben is singing into a lamp, isn't he?
He is. And have you ever noticed
Oh.
the have you ever noticed the musical cues? Because the the song that Dorothy is singing, the song that Frank is obsessed with, is Blue Velvet.
Right.
The song that weird kind of angelic synth song that Jeffrey and Sandy dance to and appears for them as a couple several times throughout the film. If you listen to the lyrics, it's all about seeing things anew under the light revealed as they
Yeah.
are.
You know, it is kind of funny. Like, I just realized, no, you're right. Because, like, David Lynch does have this habit of, like,